Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we are live at the Bristol Motor Speedway for the running of the Food City 250 on NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005. 14 races to go in the NASCAR Busch Series season, heading into tonight's race under the lights at the last great Coliseum. And for this race, our driver Greg Biffle comes in with the points lead, 85-point lead over Ron Hornaday Jr. coming into tonight's race. 250 laps will be the scheduled distance under the lights at Bristol Motor Speedway. Like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content for full race live streams, daily NASCAR content on the channel, whether it's the real race commentary on the race weekend or the video game races during the week as you're seeing here tonight. No live race commentary this weekend as I will actually be at Bristol Motor Speedway for the Dirt Bristol race weekend. I'll be there tomorrow afternoon starting for, I should get there about 2-3 o'clock or so in the middle of the practice sessions, but I will get there early enough in the afternoon to catch the heat races for both the Truck Series, the Cup Series, as well as the Truck Race tomorrow night, and of course the Cup Series race on Sunday night, Easter night. I can't wait. Bristol is awesome. It is my favorite track of all time in NASCAR, and even though it's on dirt, which I'm still a little bit upset about, I do want to go see what it's like in person, and maybe I'll have a different perspective on it. But I will say, I grew up going to dirt racing all the time, so I'm sure I will thoroughly enjoy it. We'll see to what extent, I guess. But thank you for everybody tuning in. We'll have race highlight videos from the grandstands this weekend, prediction video as well. Power rankings video for this week will be out on the channel tomorrow. Post Martinsville, top 10 drivers in NASCAR, at least what I believe right now in the Cup Series. And yeah, it's going to be a fun weekend. Hopefully you guys will enjoy tonight's racing to get the Bristol weekend started. So first and foremost, going to hop right into practice and qualifying here. Just making sure my setup is still the same from the last time we were at Bristol earlier this season. This is the second race at Bristol for the NASCAR Busch Series. So this is definitely going to be interesting to see what will happen. This time it is 250 laps under the lights. It was a 250 lap day race the last time we were at Bristol for the NASCAR Busch Series season. Biffle did not have a good finish in the last race. Ended up finishing 16th, and that lead got cut down quite a bit. From a 170-point lead down to an 85-point lead over Ron Hornaday. Hornaday ended up with a second-place finish. Sorry, finish that was outside the top 20, I should say, at the California Speedway for Greg Biffle just a couple of nights ago. That was back on Tuesday night when that happened. Second on lap 1 with a 15.501. Lap 2 for Greg Biffle will be fast enough for the pole. A 15.465. He jumped up the charts just enough to nab the pole tonight. So another pole award for Greg Biffle this season. And coincidentally, it will be Ron Hornaday Jr. who qualifies second for tonight's race. He'll start outside of the front row. Historic Cinematics, Mark DeMars, and Michael Turner, welcome to the stream. Bristol time. Yes, it is. And as, I don't know what the guy's name is, but he's a boxing ring announcer. And usually for the Bristol night race, he's the one that does the driver introductions. Well, today, no driver introductions. But how about let's get ready to rumble at Bristol, baby. Green flag is in the air. And Greg Biffle will lead him down into turns 1 and 2. 43 abreast. Lap 1 led by the pole sitter Greg Biffle. And Bobby Hamilton Jr. will slide into second place with Ron Hornaday still stuck on the outside and needs to get to the bottom quickly as the 119 is underneath him and will get around him for third. Now Keith Grimsley in the 119 car also underneath Bobby Hamilton for second place. Hornaday is finally able to get down on the bottom lane, and he may get back around the 25 of Hamilton very quickly. Tight points battle right now. Under 80, or I should say 85 or less points separate not only Greg Biffle, Dale Jr., the Cup Series standings with 12 races to go, but with 14 races to go in the Busch Series. It's an 85-point lead for Biffle over Ron Hornaday. These are going to be two tight points battles over the next few weeks before we crown the champion. Probably, I'd say early May is about when the championships will be crowned in both series. It's going to be fun to watch. Of course, it's the last race of this season until Monday night, and then we'll return with the Busch Series on Monday night when I get back from Bristol this weekend. Last time we were on a concrete oval, it was at Dover, and Greg Biffle led all 200 laps from the pole, dominated the race. We'll see if anybody's going to have a shot to beat him here today, as he's already starting off leading the first 6 laps from the pole. Hornaday is in 3rd place, trying to get around Keith Grimsley for 2nd, who may be holding those guys up a little bit, holding up the faster traffic, as Grimsley was able to get to 2nd quickly off the start, despite the fact that he qualified 5th. Biffle's got about 0.8 of a second lead. Hornaday's going to have to move him here before long, but it looks like Hornaday loses the bottom now, and Bobby Hamilton Jr. is looking to the inside for 2nd place. 3rd place, rather. Eventually 2nd if he can get around Grimsley. Biffle has just over a 1 second lead and growing. Derek Booth, welcome to the stream. Good evening to you as well. .297 that last lap. That was faster than Biffle ran in qualifying. On lap 10, a little bit of separation right now in the pack. You see probably about a half a dozen cars on the track map, and then a little gap back between them, like there might have been a stack up a couple laps ago. And of course, Greg Biffle has a 1.4 second lead. Grimsley still in 2nd. He's holding on strong for now, but you'd have to imagine once somebody gets around him, maybe they could start to run down Biffle. And actually, Grimsley is no longer in 2nd place. Looks like he's dropped back a couple positions. Can't tell who's in 2nd, though. Looks like it may be Bobby Hamilton, but I'm not entirely sure. 250 laps at Bristol is not long, and if this race goes green most of the way, potentially caution-free through all 250 laps today, this race is going to get done in just over an hour. So it is crucial for these guys to be on it really from the get-go. 500 lap race, you might have to take care of your equipment a little more. The first few 100 laps just about survival, keeping the car clean, and then go hard the final 150 to 200 laps. But in this one, with it only being 250 laps, you have to just gut it out from the get-go. And if you did not qualify well, it is going to be tough to make up track position, especially at Old Bristol, which is primarily a one-groove track. Man, that is terrible, Derek. Hopefully everything's alright. I almost forgot about Formula 1 having 2 races in the U.S. this year. Isn't there talks about a 3rd one within the next couple years? Having another one at Las Vegas as well? I don't know if that is confirmed or not, but I thought I heard something about that a little while ago. That's insane. I mean, I don't even know if they race in any other country more than once, let alone if they were to race in the U.S. 3 times. They start to oversaturate the market, though. I mean, what happened to NASCAR when they were oversaturating the schedule? I mean, they had it at 30 to 32 races for the longest time. They added 4 or 5 more races to add a bunch more mile and a halves, and over time people got tired of it. I think you'll probably see the same thing with Formula 1 over time, especially if they have 3+ races in the US a year. You gotta figure, ticket sales are up at COTA because that's the only race, the only chance American citizens have of being able to watch a race in the country. If they end up having 3 races, not going to sell as many tickets, especially when locals in Las Vegas or Miami could just stay home and watch a race versus going to COTA. Oh, they will have one in 2023. Wow, that's next year. Jeez, that's insane, especially considering the fact they haven't even raced at Miami yet. Like, we have no clue how that's going to go, what the turnout will be as well. Pretty bold move by F1. See if it works out for him, though, in the short term. I definitely think it can work out in the short term. I just don't know if it's going to have a lot of long-term success. And if they're smart enough, maybe they know that. And, you know, it'll be a couple-year thing anyway, and they'll back out. We'll see how it'll work. You would think that would drop the ticket prices down a little bit, though, if they have multiple races in the U.S. a year. You would think. I don't know what they were selling for before. I'd imagine it'd be a pretty expensive price. Collapsed lung, broken ankle. It's gonna be alright. Well, that's good to hear. I mean, it's not good to hear, but at the same time, it sounds like she'll pull through, so that's pretty good. You can definitely tell after Grimsley got passed for second place that the rest of the field is starting to close in. Second and third place is definitely closing in on the Biff right now, and Biffle's nowhere close to lap traffic for the time being. He had about a 1.4 second lead at one point. Now it's down to a 0.6 of a second lead. And maybe Biffle doesn't have a great long-run car tonight. We'll only tell over the course of these laps, and obviously when they get into lap traffic, that'll be a completely different story as well. I bet Earthworms could beat Cody Ware in a dirt race. Welcome to the stream. That's a pretty... It's out there, but it's funny. They may be able to do it. Hey, I've seen some pretty fast insects in my time on this planet. Have you ever tried to, like... So, we'll get, like, carpenter ants around the house, you know, every now and then, especially this time of the year when it's first starting to warm up. You know, you'll just see an ant in the house randomly, whatever, squash it. I mean, sometimes they are really fleet-footed. And you try to, like, squash them, and you kind of mistaken them for how fast they are. And then they scurry away real quick. You're like, oh, shoot. And then you're looking around for it because you lose it. Then you find it again. I don't think it's quite as bad as if you were to try to catch like a mouse or something. I feel like that would be even harder. Never had to do that before, thankfully. Ron Hornaday moved up to second a few laps ago, passing whoever that was in second place. It was either Ashton Lewis or Bobby Hamilton, unaware of exactly who it is, but Hornaday is closing in on Biffle. And again, in a shorter race, and Biffle's already led the first 35 laps, Hornaday's going to have to put that pressure on him and really try to get around him as quick as possible. He's cut the lead down to about 2 to 2.5 car lengths into turn 3. And he is going to be there very, very shortly. We'll see if Biffle can hang on. And how aggressive will Ron Hornaday be? Will he put the bumper to Biffle as soon as he gets a chance, or will he try to race him straight up and race him clean? Jeez. Self-inflicted mistake off turn 2 for Biffle that time. Definitely allowed Hornaday to get to the back bumper of the 60. Racing him clean through turns 1 and 2 at least that time. It looked like Hornaday actually went more towards the middle groove and might have lost just a tad bit of ground to the Biff. It's just like the Cup Series. The top 2 in points are just battling neck and neck for the lead, it seems like, every week. And we saw this for the most part at California, at least in the first half of the race, until Biffle fell off on late pit strategy in the final 65 laps of the race when we didn't get another caution like Biffle was expecting. Hornaday to the inside of Biffle. Didn't even have to use the bumper, but they are still side by side for the lead into turn 3. And Hornaday is clear. Will he get away? 5 bonus points for Ron Hornaday. That was big after Biffle leads about the first 40 laps of the day. Biffle trying to get Hornaday a little loose, trying to intimidate him, and maybe he'll have an opportunity to get him back quickly. I think Biffle definitely has to try and race him clean with Hornaday racing the 2 clean. Or Hornaday racing the 60 clean. Hornaday in the 2, of course. Biffle can't even really keep up with him. He kind of overdrove 3 and 4 a little bit that time, but trying to find a way to close. Oh, he gained a lot of ground that time. Hornaday went a bit wider off the exit of the corner. Biffle beats him to the inside into turn 3, and he makes a bit of contact with him. Overdriving the corner on the inside of the 2. Very light contact, but it was contact nevertheless, and Biffle's back in the lead. Thought Hornaday was going to get into the 60 that time. He didn't have to. Again, he gets to the inside. Biffle trying to battle. Side draft on the front stretch. Hornaday hooks the bottom, and he has the lead. Biffle with an undercut, though, off the exit of turn 2. Drives it flat into 3. Actually got it to stick somewhat. Biffle, I don't think he led that lap at the line. I think Hornaday had it by inches. A lot of lead changes back and forth between the 60 and the 2 right now, and you have to wonder if that's going to bring anybody else into the fight. They haven't even gotten to lap traffic yet. 52 laps in. Alternate through the different camera angles for the first time in the early going of today's race. Biffle pulling right back away from Hornaday, over a half a second lead all of a sudden. Wonder if Hornaday might have used up a little too much of his tires trying to get to Greg Biffle and battle him like he did for a little while. On a dozen laps or so, he was able to battle him. Biffle quickly gets around his first lap car of the night. Luke Nixon in the 63. Oh, man. Way up the track. Struggling to get around Shane Kirkland. Hornaday was able to get around Nixon a little bit further back. Now Biffle will clear Hornaday, or clear Kirkland, excuse me, off of turn 4. Hornaday still trying to close. A lot of side-by-side lap traffic, though, coming up very soon in front of Biffle. That might hold him up even more. The movie chicanes at Bristol Motor Speedway. Definitely a thrilling part of the action is trying to watch the leaders navigate through lap traffic on the longer green flag runs, and that's what you're seeing here. Bit of a chess match between Greg Biffle and Ron Hornaday going on right now. The only thing is, though, is now, at least with old Bristol, in this race, is primarily trying to get to the bottom. If it was new Bristol, you'd have to really try to dictate, do I go top, do I go bottom? Where are the lap cars consistently running, and what is faster for me to get around them before someone has a driver to get around them? But it's not really the case here. It's just a fight for the bottom. Still a lot easier said than done as far as trying to get through here as quickly as possible. Two lap cars right now between the top two. It looked like Sean Batson just ran the 152 car up the track with a bump and run. Jimmy Hill to the inside as well of the 152. These guys trying to hold on to the lead lap, or maybe they'll get that first quick caution of the night sometime soon. So far hasn't been the case. Biffle to the inside of Batson into turn 3. Back to about a 9/10 of a second lead again. Contact between Batson and Biffle. Biffle clear. Lost a couple tenths of his lead. Jimmy Hill, last car in the lead lap again in the 116. And now Hill's a lap down. 3 lap cars between the top two. 8/10 of a second is also the difference. Make that 2 lap cars now, separating the top two. Not sure exactly not only who is in third, but how far back third place is, even from Hornaday in second. Any points gained is definitely big this time of the season, but it's especially crucial for these two to really stay on the top of their game when they're both running up towards the front of the field. Hornaday's led some laps today. Biffle's obviously led the most so far. They both have 5 bonus points at this point in the race and are running first and second. Couldn't ask for better competition in the chase for the championship in both series right now between the Busch and the Cup. Jeff Gordon's had some good runs on the Cup Series side and could make it a 3-horse race before the end of the season. You never know if he clicks off a few more wins. He could be in it. He's definitely going to need a little help, and the same goes for Kyle Busch, where he's probably going to need a little help as well, especially after having blown engines in each of the last 2 races. It's definitely hurt him, and he's dropped back from the 2 and the 60 in the standings just a little bit. Five laps down. Race is definitely clicking by in a quick fashion. Still caution free. Remember, our Food City 500 in the Bristol Day Race for the Cup Series went caution free. Biffle gets into the back of Ray Westbury in the 121. Westbury threw a big block trying to stay on the lead lap in front of Biffle. He is not moving off the inside lane. Biffle beats him back to the gas off of turn 4. He's under him into turn 1. No contact that time, and he should be able to clear him. And he does. Hornaday was starting to close a little bit again. Biffle just missed the exit to the corner. Westbury's going to get right back underneath him again. And Biffle has to drop down to the bottom behind Westbury, try to cross him back over as Ron Hornaday is the race leader, and now he's under a half a second behind Biffle and closing still. Westbury trying to fend off Biffle again. He's putting up a fight right now, trying to stay in the lead lap. In desperation mode of a caution. Craig Miller in the 168 also had a blown engine in the last race in California a couple nights ago. He's trying to hang on to the lead lap. Much easier for Biffle to get around him compared to Westbury, and Miller's a lap down. 20 laps away from the lap 100 mark. It is a 1 pit stop race today. Easily these drivers will be able to make it on 1 stop. They can go quite a ways on fuel still from here. If we don't see a caution, you definitely do not want a short pit at Bristol. You'll go 2 laps down, even if you're the race leader, having to make a green flag pit stop. It's just not worth it. After Hornaday had fallen about a second off the lead, he's within about 3 to 4 car lengths of Greg Biffle again. No more lap cars between the top two as we hit lap 84. Of 4 laps a minute, the 15-second lap times. Trey Murray in the 103, excuse me. About to lose a lap. Wesley Schmidt, the 117 car up ahead. Biffle underneath him off of turn 2. Corey Haynes, excuse me, the 117. Biffle overdrives the corner right into him. That's really going to allow for Hornaday to close the gap. Hornaday has nowhere to go with the lap car side by side in front of him and still behind Biffle. Biffle probably didn't lose as much time as he should have there. 2 lap cars between the top 2 again. Both of them running that middle to upper group. They're 1 and 2. Hornaday underneath Craig Miller. And now he's underneath Murray. Hornaday has closed the last couple laps again. Biffle's lap times have fallen over 0.3 of a second off compared to his fastest lap of the race. And we have some drivers pitting right now. The window is open to make it on fuel to the end of the race, so that is why we are seeing some drivers short pit around lap 90. Interesting strategy call, to say the least. They're thinking this is going to stay green at least long enough to cycle all the way through pit stops. That is a hope for them, so they can gain some track position that way and then hopefully get a caution not too long after everybody cycles through. A couple of Cup Series regulars were on pit road. Kevin Harvick just working his way off the pit lane. One of the heavy hitters, of course, had a great run at California before unfortunately finishing outside the top 30 after leading a lot of laps in that race. And last caution had trapped him a lap down after short pitting at one point. A lot of lap traffic cycling out of the pits. Contact into turns 1 and 2. Gaggle of lap cars up ahead. And they are 2 by 2 with the leaders closing in. One of them might be the 103 of Trey Murray again. He just came out of the pits. He has fresh tires. And this is going to be really tough to navigate through. Biffle gapping Hornaday again. Hornaday was able to get around him a couple times. Biffle got around him pretty quickly back. Biffle's definitely by far led the most laps up to this point so far. I would like to clinch the most laps led as soon as possible. Just to know that he would have the 10 bonus points compared to Hornaday, who is the only other driver to lead a lap today. More contact, not that far in front of the 60. Oh, more contact, the 113 car. I believe that's the 113. Actually, it might be Donnie Hart, the 128. Yep, it was Donnie Hart that got moved up the track by the 117, who was on fresher tires coming out of the pits. Now Barry Wilder is going to try to block the 60 of Greg Biffle. That didn't work as he moved himself up out of the way into the high line. Hornaday starting to close in again. Now Donnie Hart with a big block. And Hornaday has a run now after that block by Hart. Biffle going to throw a big block on the 2, and he moved himself up out of the way. A little late with that one, and Ron Hornaday's back in the lead again, just over 100 laps in, and Biffle's still stuck on the outside. And here comes Bobby Hamilton out of nowhere, and no clue he was even up here. Hamilton has closed in the lap traffic. He's getting through this a lot better than not only Biffle, but Hornaday as well. Nearly 3 wide into turn 1, and Hamilton's up to second place. Biffle back to P3 for the first time tonight. And Hamilton's closing on Hornaday. Has he managed his tires well into this run to now be the fastest car on the racetrack? Because it seems like it. Lap car's getting in the way of Greg Biffle, costing him valuable time. Kevin Harvick is in line behind Biffle, but he is already a couple laps down after short pitting. He's going to race Biffle hard if he has a chance, knowing that Hornaday's in the hunt for the championship, and he is the leader. Hart gets squeezed into the wall by Biffle that time. Look at Hamilton continuously closing on Ron Hornaday. And he actually went to the outside. That's going to cost him a lot of time. Lap cars are side by side in front of Hornaday, and Hamilton is closing on the 2. They get to racing with each other. Biffle could close in back in third. Hornaday finally going to get underneath both the 106 and the 56. Hasn't cleared them both yet. Hamilton's still behind both, though. Hamilton gets blocked off by the 56 car. Big run from behind by Biffle now. On to Bobby Hamilton in the 25. Quarter tank of gas left for the 60 of Biffle at lap 112. Trying to force Hamilton into a mistake. Biffle all over the back bumper of the 25. One car blowing up on the inside of the racetrack. Jason Keller, we have a caution. Oh, no. Man, caution came out, and they stacked up quickly in turn 1. Casey, I don't know why that was a caution, but I guess a caution came out for Casey Atwood spinning. It was like a half spin with no contact in the middle of the corner. He saved it. Probably shouldn't have had a caution for that. And it wasn't that far in front of the leaders, and Biffle actually ran into the back of the 25 car pretty good, but that was not what caused the yellow, so he will be able to pit for fuel and tires. Just a bit of a stack up. So they are within the window to make it to the end on fuel. Still just over half the race to go. 4 tires and fuel will be the call for the 60 of Greg Biffle. Looks like Ron Hornaday got hit by the 25 as well, because he's got damage to the back of his car. I wonder if the 25 got stacked up behind the 2, and that's how Biffle got into him. All 3 of the top 3 have damage of some sort. It's like a clean stop for the 60 team. How fast will it be? Actually pretty slow. He lost 1 spot on pit road, falling from 3rd back to 4th. Looks like some cars might have stayed out of the pits as well. So even though Greg Biffle was 4th off of pit road, green flag back in the air. Now he spins the tires on the restart. Lance Brantley down on the bottom. Biffle is stuck on the outside. Martin gets around him, and Biffle's back to 11th place. Paul Menard leads for the first time today at Bristol. So some drivers trying to take on track position right now on older tires. That's an interesting call. Man. Biffle into the back of his teammate Martin. All that did was stack him up, and now Castleberry's to the inside of Biffle. This is definitely not what Biffle wanted. That was a slow stop. Had some cars stay out. Now he's back in traffic, even heavier than what he was before the caution. A lot of lap cars in the mix still up ahead as well. This is a ton of cars to pass, and most of them are on equal tires. Paul Menard's lost the lead to somebody up there. I don't know who. Generator driver of some sort as Biffle rubs underneath the side of Craig Miller in the 168. 152 just knocked himself out of the way off the front bumper of the 60, trying to throw a late block. Biffle's closed in on Hornaday. Hamilton has gotten around the 2. Look at the damage on the back of the 2 car. It's insane how much he has. Hamilton must have hit him pretty good. Oh, you finally got NASCAR Thunder 4. That's pretty cool. Mark, didn't you state down in the chat? I thought I remember you saying something about your sister's incident a little while back. Hornaday's starting to get through traffic a little bit better again. Contact up ahead. Stacking up Bobby Hamilton. They're side by side in front of him. I know Donnie Hart and the 106 car are a lap down already. But they're really holding up Bobby Hamilton, who finally gets to the bottom. Biffle's still having a tough time trying to get through the 25 and the 2. You can definitely tell the 25, the 2, and the 60 are the 3 fastest cars on the track because they are getting through traffic quicker than everybody else. And we're about to have an intense battle for the lead right now as they're closing in on these drivers on older tires. Not sure if anybody just hit pit road when the caution came out. Oh, Biffle has a run. He's under Hornaday. Now's the chance to really get around the 25 and the 2 while everybody's in traffic. He gets around one of them. He clears Hornaday off the exit of turn 2. Up to 7th place. Inside of the 112. Menard back in the lead again. Bobby Hamilton stuck behind Grimsley in the 119. Biffle puts the bumper to Hamilton. Nothing doing there. Hamilton a bit wider than Biffle that time. Biffle to the inside into turn 3. He's there on Hamilton. Clean pass in that corner. He's cleared for 5th place. And now of the drivers on fresher tires, Greg Biffle is the first of them. Oh, okay, gotcha. I'm trying to read the chat as much as I can. I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time with it. Having to turn every 3 seconds. I have a tough time trying to read the chat on road courses and short tracks. And Manny Brown taking the lead from Paul Menard. Menard's still stuck up high, and Grimsley's up to 2nd. You might see a fantasy driver win tonight at Bristol. Grimsley's been in the top 5 most of the night. Biffle needs to get around the top 3 quickly, though, before Hornaday and Hamilton close back in on him again. Biffle to the inside of Paul Menard. Stiff for the Biff and hard for Menard. Side by side for 3rd. Which fan base will prevail? It looks like it's the stiff for the Biff fans. At least for now. Biffle puts the bumper to Grimsley. Letting him know he is there, he is faster. Grimsley held up a pack of cars at the very beginning of the race when he was in 2nd. So you definitely know he's not going to want to give it up even later in the race to Greg Biffle, who is much faster. Biffle gets into him. Up the track goes Grimsley, bump and run Biffle to P2. He kind of overdrove the corner, getting back into the gas. And with doing that, Grimsley's back underneath him again. A little door slam on the front stretch. Biffle hops back in line in between Menard and Grimsley. Biffle with a crossover on the 119. Oh, and they make more contact. They're stuck together in the middle of the corner. Biffle's in the wall on the outside. And now he gets drilled from behind by Dwayne Borland. Never mind, that's Drew Campbell. A little rough around the edges that time. A couple corners ago. They made contact and they couldn't get off of one another in the middle of the corner. And here comes Hornaday and Hamilton back in it again. Two-car breakaway at the front between Manny Brown and Paul Menard. So that bought them a little bit more time. Dang it. Missed the corners the last couple laps. Biffle's about 1.9 seconds off the lead. I think it's a short track. I don't think the damage is going to cost him too much. Still think Hornaday's got more damage than the 60. And obviously we know that those cars in front are not as fast as the drivers running 3rd through 5th right now. As we close in on 100 laps to go, it's going to be harder to get around Menard and Brown. They're not going to hold up easy as they're going to be looking for their first wins of the year. And how about Manny Brown, a generated driver leading this race as Menard's even closing on him. So he was able to fend off Biffle for second. Michelle Marie Cave Miller, welcome to the stream. Yep, our trivia question tonight, as we have just over 100 laps to go, is what is the last NASCAR Cup Series race at Bristol to feature a winner who led less than 100 laps? So when was the last NASCAR Cup Series race at Bristol where the winner led less than 100 laps? Got to give the year and then spring or fall as the answer to the question. Biffle overdrives. And here comes Ron Hornaday in the 2. Side by side for 3rd. And Hornaday has cleared Greg Biffle. Biffle getting a little sideways off turn 4. Kurt Busch, Carl Edwards. No, what year? What year? Not the winner of the race itself, but what year and then spring or fall. Last time a NASCAR Cup Series race at Bristol was won by a driver who led less than 100 laps. But it wasn't 06. It was not 93, 94, 95. Just have to name the most recent one. Give you guys to lap 165 where we give you the answer to that trivia question. We have just less than 100 laps to go tonight at Bristol. It was not 2011 spring. It was not 2001 either. Although I don't think Sadler led 100 laps in that race. Not the most recent. It is not Kyle Larson 2021. Larson led 125 laps in the summer Bristol race last season. Hornaday closes on Paul Menard, Manny Brown, Greg Biffle. Losing Hornaday a little bit, but this is his chance to catch up. Hornaday struggling to get around Paul Menard for second, and the leaders are also going to be closing in on lap traffic very soon. It's not 2020 either. Hornaday gets around Menard. Biffle will also get around Menard. Brown trying to hold off the two fastest cars in the field behind him. We noticed Bobby Hamilton had great long run speed on the last run. We'll see if he can close in on a longer run this time as well. Can Hornaday get around Manny Brown before Greg Biffle has a chance to try to get around Hornaday? Definitely tell the 60's struggling on corner exit. His car's a little loose. Not Brad Keselowski in 2020. It was not 2004. You guys have about 3 to 4 more laps. About 60 seconds. Big wiggle by the 2 that time. Struggling with dirty air. Biffle trying to intimidate him as well. Lap traffic is close, and even Menard still keeping up with Brown, holding up Hornaday and Biffle. If Brown can get to the lap traffic and get through it better, he may be able to hold on a bit longer. Not 2000, not 2007. I'm really surprised nobody's gotten it by now. I guess it could be like, oh, when I give the answer to the question. It is a memorable race, I will say that. Not 2013 spring. Hornaday. Oh, he puts the bumper to Brown. The bump and run is going to get Ron Hornaday to the race lead. And allows Biffle to get around Brown for second right before they catch the lap car of Shane Kirkland. Answer to tonight's trivia question as Brown crosses Biffle over for second place now in the heat of a 3-car battle for the lead. 4 if you include Menard not far behind as well. Our trivia question tonight was, when was the last NASCAR Cup Series race that featured a winner at Bristol who led less than 100 laps? What was the most recent one? It was 2019 summer race when Denny Hamlin out-edged Matt DiBenedetto in the late stages. DiBenedetto led the most laps in that race. In fact, nobody led 100 laps in that race. DiBenedetto was the close, leading 95 laps. Denny Hamlin led 37 and route to his victory at Bristol that night. Manny Brown was able to work through the lap traffic to get back around Hornaday for second. Hornaday now back to third as Biffle has gotten around him. Biffle looks low on Brown. Brown with a block into the corner. Brown now to the inside of the 117 as well. I cannot believe Manny Brown has held on as long as he has so far. Can he do it for another 70 laps though? 80 laps in fact. Brown on the outside. Biffle charges hard on the bottom, and Biffle's looking for his first lead since the restart. And he has it. Off of turn 4, clear with a clean pass on Brown, and the lap car really didn't get in Brown's way, he just missed the corner entry. Again, the answer to the trivia question was 2019 summer race. Fall, whatever you want to say. It was September. I think it's considered still summer technically, but it wasn't quite to that equinox yet. But still, the second, or I should say Bristol night race, 2019. Denny Hamlin got the win. His luck coming back from the penalty, and Ryan Newman putting basically a hole in the radiator of Matt DiBenedetto's car as well. David Green really roughing up Jimmy Hill in front of Biffle. Side by side now in front of the Biff. Hornaday has made a pass for second as well. Manny Brown back to third, trying to fend off Menard, who's on his back bumper right now off of turn 2. One lap car between the top two. Jimmy Hill is between Biffle and Hornaday. I just realized this is the second race in a row in this series where Kevin Harvick had a caution come out after he had short pitted and trapped him a lap down. I believe in this case, though, he is 2 laps down instead of 1 with it being Bristol. Hermie Sadler just blew an engine on the inside of the racetrack. As far as we know, he's the second one. Jason Keller blew an engine right when that caution came out earlier. For Casey Atwood having a bit of a slide in turns 3 and 4. Even though he saved it, didn't hit anything. Still ended up having a caution. Biffle starting to pull away a little bit. 0.7 of a second lead. Navigating through lap traffic really well right now. Yeah, Keselowski led over 100 laps that day, too. Greg Biffle has just clinched the most laps led, 10 bonus point performance today, but it's Hornaday who comes in 85 points behind him, who is in second, has already led laps multiple times. A win would still allow him to gain points on Biffle, even with Biffle leading the most. Biffle finishes second. It'll only be a 5-point increase for Ron Hornaday, but it's better than nothing. This juncture of the year, you definitely don't want to lose points as much as you can help it. 13 races to go following this one today. And the next one will be Monday night for this Busch Series season. Kevin Harvick about to go a third lap down right now as Biffle is underneath him off of turn 4. Biffle about 0.8 of a second now in front of Hornaday. Maybe Harvick was trying to race Biffle hard there to help his teammate Hornaday out, but he really couldn't do it. Just does not have the superior car. Even if they were on the equal lap. Harvick definitely struggling in traffic. Mike Bliss going to go a lap down. That 2020 spring race, by the way, at Bristol was probably one of the best Bristol races I've ever seen. It was definitely a fun one. Like, last year was fun, too. That one was, I think, a little bit better. Hornaday is closed back in on Biffle again. Tiny Buchanan holding up Greg Biffle. Biffle just gets to the inside off of turn 4 cleanly. Might have taken him a little too long, though, and Hornaday is closing the gap. Look at Buchanan sliding around, hanging on to his car. It's going to hold up Hornaday behind him. It allowed for Biffle to clear a little sooner. Biffle gets around Sean Batson as well. Now 2 lap cars between the top 2 again. Biffle closes in on Casey Atwood, who already been involved in 1 caution today. .59 laps to go at Bristol. Halfway on fuel, but again, these guys are good on fuel to the end of the race. If it does stay green to the end, this will be the longer of the 2 green flag runs. We want green at lap 118, just shy of the halfway mark. Hornaday is back around the lap cars, and he's back within about 2 car lengths behind Biffle into 3. Another great battle between these two. Hornaday finished second in the last one. Biffle outside the top 20. But today, Biffle at least is in the right pit strategy this time to at least get a good finish as long as he gets it to the end cleanly. Hornaday to the bottom. Side by side for the lead. Biffle can't hold the high lane. He's not available at this old Bristol surface. And Hornaday is back in the lead. Another changing of the guard moment. About 55 laps still to go. Plenty of time. Biffle closes in on Hornaday through 1 and 2. Hornaday could not get around the 14 very well. Biffle drives it in deep into the corner and a little too deep. He sideswipes Atwood. Lot more lap traffic, though, in front of Hornaday right now. And I believe Paul Menard in third is closing in again. Don't count Menard out of this one. I don't think he's won a race all season. Hasn't really been close too many times either. Hornaday would be looking for his second win. Gene Martin in the 107. On the outside. Oh, contact between Martin and Biffle. Martin scrapes the wall off of turn 2 as well. 51 laps to go. Beating and banging all night long at Bristol, and I think it's far from over. Biffle again overrunning the corner into Hart. As he continues to lose time to Ron Hornaday right now. 50 laps to go, and he's about 7/10 of a second off the lead with a couple lap cars between them. Hornaday's starting to get away, and he's only got 2 more lap cars in front of him. He'll have a little bit of breathing room. Biffle's got 4 lap cars now between himself and Ron Hornaday. I have to pause it for a quick second here. Once I get through this traffic, I have a notification on the bottom right corner of my laptop, which is covering the chat right now. It'll disappear at some point, but I don't know how long it's going to be. Probably disappear by the time I pause it. Once I get through this traffic. Definitely getting down to the intense moments of this race. Where Biffle wishes it was a 500 lapper again. He was able to win the Food City 500. Caution definitely put him back in traffic, and not that he was in third when the caution came out anyway. I think the caution definitely hurt Bobby Hamilton. We have not seen him in contention for the lead ever since. He did get back in the top 5 briefly, but I have no clue where he's at right now on the track. He had a good long run car earlier, but he is running out of time with just 44 to go and nowhere to be found. No more lap cars between the top 2 again as Greg Biffle and Ron Hornaday are there. Alright, let me get that off my screen real quick. Biffle closing on Hornaday. Close enough behind him. Can he intimidate him and get him up out of the way? He might not even have to. Biffle rolled the exit of turn 2 a lot better than the 2 of Hornaday that time, and they are side by side for the lead off of turn 4. Biffle on the bottom, Hornaday up high. The high side car has not been able to hold on to it all day. Hornaday is fighting though. And he'll have to just drop in line behind him. Biffle now has the track position. Hornaday hasn't really been super aggressive using the bumper on Biffle today. Biffle got into him one time when he passed him, relatively clean racing between the 2 and the 60 all night for the most part. Hornaday to the bottom. Just sent it into turns 1 and 2. Biffle trying to fight on the outside lane. And again, you just can't really do it. Maybe a lap at the most you can potentially hang on, and that's about it. I don't know if you want to be the leader if it's nose to tail on the final lap. I think one of these two are going to definitely get a little desperate. We're trying to force Hornaday into a mistake. Really trying to intimidate him. Right front definitely wearing out on the 60. 3 lap cars right in front of Ron Hornaday. 37 laps to go at Bristol. Under the lights in the Food City 250. Biffle closes hard into turn 3. The 56, the 10, and I believe the 131. Maybe the 135. Dwayne Bornland, one of the 2. Are the 3 cars in front of Ron Hornaday right now. Biffle puts the bumper to the back of the 2. Couldn't move him up out of the way that time. Biffle's not wanting to waste any time right now. Hornaday's gotten through the lap traffic a little bit better than him in the late going of this one. These lap cars not wanting to lose a lap either in case we get another late caution. I say another compared to what we've seen in other races this season. We've only had one yellow so far today. It was back at lap 115. It's been over 100 laps now since the first and only yellow. The way the short tracks have gone on this game, though, we might not see another one. Biffle got underneath the 2. A little bump to get him up onto the high side. Biffle is going to be clear. And now he's underneath the 56 car off of turn 4. 56 trying to crowd the 60. And he's in the wall. That's going to allow Biffle to clear with a clean pass on him. And overdrove the corner into turn 3. Making sure he was going to hold the bottom as much as he could. 30 to go. Hornaday under the 56. Will he try to get to the bumper of the 60? At some point, you have to imagine he's going to do it. He keeps getting opportunities. He is all over the back of him. Couldn't get to him. Might have an accordion effect if Biffle catches another lap car if the 2 can just keep this pressure on behind him. Seen some side-by-side finishes in the Busch Series at Bristol before. Think of the Kyle and Kyle show back in the early 2010s in the then called Nationwide Series. Kyle Larson and Kyle Busch. Hornaday stuck on the outside as the lap car of Scott Busch is going to get in between Hornaday and Biffle. Biffle has about a 4/10 of a second lead now, coming to 25 to go. Hornaday back to the inside. A lot more lap cars starting to build up in front of the 60 again. Not really closing on Terry Cook all that much yet. He might now with more slower cars in front of him. You have cars that are barely on the lead lap and then cars that are already multiple laps down in front of them. Biffle's lap time, that last time by, was barely over a 10th slower than his fastest lap of the race. Biffle is rolling closer. Terry Cook went a bit wide. Biffle needs to get around him quick. He is all over the back of the 10 car. Cook is not moving out of the way right now. Biffle beats him to the inside off of turn 2. Half a second lead between first and second. Biffle still can't clear him. As long as he doesn't make a mistake here, he should have him off turn 2, and he does. Corey Haynes in the 117 on the outside. Drew Campbell in the 131 up ahead, so it wasn't Dwayne Borland. Biffle to the inside of Campbell. Quarter tank of gas left, coming to 20 to go. They'll be able to make it on field to the end. Again, no issues there. 3 lap cars between the top 2. Hornaday needs to get going with 20 to go. He's losing time. I'm not sure where to... I haven't even really seen Dale Jr. all night, to be completely honest. That's the separation Biffle needs right now, but he's still going to need the rest of the lap cars he's going to catch for these final 19 laps to stay out of the way. Shane Kirkland right in front of Greg Biffle. Biffle to the inside off of turn 4. He doesn't want to make contact with him because it may slow him up, but he can't just sit behind him either. Kirkland's in the wall off turn 2. That'll be an easy pass for Biffle. Hornaday has gotten around those 3 original lap cars that were in front of him. Biffle gets into the 112 now. And more contact between them. That was Nick Richardson in the 112 car. That definitely held Biffle up. See, that's not what he wanted because he didn't even get around him with the contact. And not 1 but 2 separate corners. Biffle looks low under Richardson into 3. Hornaday trying to get around Kirkland right now. Wider arc that time. Maybe a setup move. 0.6 of a second still between the top two. Biffle about a tenth quicker that last lap. Hornaday still stuck behind Kirkland. Still pretty much a two-car race for now. And will we stay green to the finish? A little bit more clean traffic ahead of Biffle. I think he's going to catch at least these next two cars. It's going to matter on how quickly he can get around him. Hornaday running out of time. 12 to go. Still 0.6 of a second back at the line. Starting to roll the bottom a little bit better. Maybe a couple hundredths of a second quicker was Hornaday that last lap, but now he's tucked in line behind the next lap car. Biffle about a tenth quicker through 1 and 2. Hornaday to the inside of the lap car, 10 laps to go. No more lap cars between the top two. Can Hornaday run down Greg Biffle to close in on Biffle in the points championship? 85 points between them coming into the day. They've ran top three all night between the two of them, really, except for that one restart we had when they were back in traffic. Both losing spots on pit road. Hornaday about a tenth quicker than Biffle that last lap. He's a half a second back with 8 to go. That's going to be a quick enough pace to get to him. Lance Brantley in the 109 will be the next lap car in front of Greg Biffle. Not sure who's in front of him. Richard Biffle's going to catch at least the next two lap cars. He's definitely catching Brantley into turn 1. Brantley staying a bit wide. Now he makes contact. Contact with Greg Biffle. Six to go. Oh, and more contact between Brantley and Biffle. Brantley sideswipes him that time. 5 laps to go. Brantley just pulled down in front of the 2 car now. I think Brantley was already at least 1 lap down, maybe more. Hornaday trying to get underneath him, and he's stuck still behind Brantley with 4 to go. At least Brantley's costing both the 2 and the 60 a lot of time, and not just one. Hornaday finally to the inside of Brantley. He got to within about 2 car lengths, and now he's 0.6 of a second off the lead again with just 3 to go. As we are less than 60 seconds away from the finish. Sean Batson's the next lap car in front of Biffle. Biffle may get to him. 2 to go. I think he'll get to Batson in 1 and 2. I'm not sure if he's going to stay out of the way or not. Just over 0.6 of a second with a lap and a half to go. 1/8 of a tank of fuel left for Biffle. Again, plenty good to the end. Biffle can't quite get to the inside of Brantley. Final lap of the race. Last lap. Biffle's tires are worn. Almost gets into Batson that time. Hornaday closes off turn 2, but he's not close enough to use the bumper through 3 and 4. And by a couple car lengths, it'll be Greg Biffle winning the Food City 250 at Bristol. Under the lights, Greg Biffle will win this NASCAR Busch Series race at Bristol Motor Speedway. Pretty good short track racing tonight. And Biffle will have a max points day after leading the most laps and winning the race. Hornaday led some laps today, finished second. I think Biffle will pull away 15 points, if I'm not mistaken, over Hornaday, which means that he'll have about a 100-point lead. Exactly a 100-point lead going into the next race. The smoke show on the front stretch. Wade Zielinski, I see you down in the chat. Thanks for watching tonight as well. Michael Knight says, what a finish. Yeah, that was definitely a little intense there at the end. I thought Brantley was going to cost Biffle, but he also got in the way of Hornaday as well, so ultimately it allowed Biffle to hold on. 1 hour and 7 minutes to get the 250 laps in tonight with just one caution for incident, 20 lead changes in the race. Biffle dominates, leading 153 of the 250 laps. Ron Hornaday finishes in second, 45 laps left for him. Paul Menard finished third. After starting 31st, that was just... His pit crew had a fast stop on pit road. And I can't remember if he came out with the lead or not, but he was definitely up there and took the lead shortly after the restart if he didn't. I mean, he was in contention there at the end, ended up finishing third. Again, led some laps. Mark Martin had a quiet day, but finished fourth, top five, so 2 Roush cars in the top 5 tonight. Bobby Hamilton Jr., we didn't see him much after the restart, but he still ended up with a quiet top 5 finish, finishing in 5th. Manny Brown led 35 laps today. He held on strong in those final 100 laps, ended up finishing back in 6th. Kyle Busch rebounds after back-to-back DNFs to get a top 10, at least finishing 7th. No laps led for him. Ashton Lewis ends up finishing 8th. Dale Jr. finished a quiet 9th place today, and Johnny Sauter rounds out the top 10. So a couple of Cup Series regulars in the top 10. Dale Jr., Greg Biffle, Mark Martin, Paul Menard, Johnny Sauter. And quite a few Cup regulars ended up in the top 10. Cup regulars for 2004, that is. And let's see who all finished on the lead lap. It looked like we had 17 cars finish on the lead lap tonight. The Biff is your rival in NASCAR 15. Oh, man. Dale Jr. 8th? I thought he was 9th. Yeah, let me look at that again. I might have misread it. Yeah, Dale Jr. was 9th. Ashton Lewis was 8th. I was going to say, I thought he was 9th. Oh, there you go. You corrected yourself. We'll see who all DNF'd. I only saw a couple engine fail. Yeah, the 2 we saw were the only 2 that actually blew an engine. Jason Keller and Hermie Sadler. Keller blew an engine right when the caution came out. He was already a few laps down because he short pitted before that as well. And, man, what a rough Bristol race for Hermie Sadler. Started last, finished second to last. Finish over 100 laps down after DNFing in the first half of today's race. We'll take a look at the point standings. I believe it's a 100-point lead for Biffle. We'll check just to make sure. 13 races still to go. Our next NASCAR video game live stream will be at the Milwaukee Mile on Monday night for the Alan Kulwicki 250. Of course, at Alan Kulwicki's home track, at least in his home state. So running in memorial for him. And again, 13 races to go in the season, but another short track, a flat one at that, 1 mile coming up in the next race. There's some good Busch Series races at Milwaukee back in the day, and I think we'll have one as well on Monday. Be off of live stream in the next couple nights. Again, I'll be at Dirt Bristol this weekend. Race highlights from the grandstands from most of tomorrow's action. The truck race, the heat races for the Cup, and the Truck Series will also be uploaded on the channel as far as race highlights. Predictions on Sunday at Dirt Bristol, or for Dirt Bristol, from Dirt Bristol. I definitely plan on doing those at some point in the grandstands if I'm allowed to, as soon as I can as far as recording goes. I definitely need to save space on my camera as well for the truck race, because I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of cautions in that one, knowing it's the Truck Series and knowing it's on dirt. They seem to have double-digit cautions every single time, but even though it's only 150 laps, I would not be surprised if they still have at least 10 yellows. That's my prediction. Oh, not the chase plates. Take a look at those points now. Yeah, 100-point lead. I thought I did my math right. And then Bobby Hamilton Jr. is third in points still. Remember, Kyle Busch fell back to fourth. So Hamilton put up a fight. He got a top 5. Even Kyle Busch finished 7th. Ashton Lewis 8th. So all the top 5 in points finished 8th or better in tonight's race. But it's still looking like a 2-horse race, at least for the time being, between Greg Biffle and Ron Hornaday. So thank you, everybody, for watching here tonight. Again, I will see you guys live on Monday night, but I hope to see you guys in the comments section of the videos to come this weekend. Thank you for your appreciation and support. You guys really do help me go to these races. I know I was going to races before that, but ever since I started the channel, I've been going to even more, trying to bring you guys the content at the track as well. Because I never, when I was going to races before, I obviously wasn't really videotaping anything, and didn't have a YouTube channel for most of the time I was going to races up until last season. I started to videotape the races and put the race highlight videos in for you guys, so you guys seem to like that, and I like bringing you guys, my point of view of the race itself, or what it might feel like to watch a race from the grandstands, at least through your guys' screens on this channel. So I'll bring you guys that as well as more coverage. Again, thank you everybody for your support on the road to 2,000 subs, and most importantly on the road to becoming a NASCAR commentator down the road. Like and subscribe. See you guys Monday night, and again, don't forget to keep an eye out on the channel this weekend, and hopefully you enjoy the dirt racing action that NASCAR will have to bring this weekend. Have a good weekend, everybody.